You have to turn around if you're going to talk to the people. Okay? Welcome to our meditation and restorative for tonight. Minou says welcome as well. Bolster and blanket. I'm actually sitting up on my little bolster right now because I feel like I need just that extra little bit of comfort, a little bit more space. So you might choose to be a little bit closer to the ground. Maybe you choose to sit up on your cushion or bolster as well. And we'll just take a few nice deep breaths as we start to settle in. Perhaps you're still making a few little adjustments. And can you bring yourself to a place where you feel spacious, but we're not rigid in the way that we're holding ourselves up. So there's a lightness that travels through your body. We have a sense of ground and allowing ourselves to surrender into that support. But we also allow ourselves to just kind of reach into the space around us. Allowing your face to relax, your shoulders to soften. And perhaps intentionally swallowing to just clear a little bit of extra space in your throat. We'll offer up 3 really nice, deep releasing breaths, kind of as a transition or a symbolic letting go of the events of the day. Just breathing in some fresh, kind energy and then just giving away the stuff that feels heavy or feels like you've been dragging it on. And perhaps noticing how those releasing breaths of yours have a tender element to them. They allow us to soften and just be in that embodied state a little more fully. Kind of land into your bones, remind yourself of flesh, blood, energy, all that is you. And the invitation is just to ride out the rhythm of breath in your body. And maybe you're feeling like you need to disperse more of those things that might have ended up on the mat with you. So you continue to do a few more clearing breaths. And eventually when that need to deeply exhale starts to dissipate a little bit, you just enter into a rhythm of breath that feels good. Just holding yourself as you are, no expectations, the full complement of your thoughts, feelings, sensations, emotions. And to just give us gentle encouragement for our sit, I offer the words of Susan Frybort from her book, Look to the Clearing. And this particular poem or passage is entitled Illustrious Beings. It was in my weakest moments that I discovered inner strength. It was after my sincere and heartfelt confessions I heard untold wisdom. It was when I professed my limitations I recognized the infinite depth within. Throughout life and by love's unseen hands, I am formed and informed and reformed with each new understanding. We are illustrious beings shaped by what we have survived, healed by our own hearts, crafted with care, always in the making. It was in my weakest moments that I discovered inner strength. It was after my sincere and heartfelt confessions I heard untold wisdom. It was when I professed my limitations I recognized the infinite depth within. Throughout life and by love's unseen hands, I am formed and informed and reformed with each new understanding. We are illustrious beings, shaped by what we have survived, healed by our own hearts, crafted with care, always in the making. And we'll just continue to stay in little moments of silence and breath for just a little while longer, allowing those tender words, those profound reminders to settle into bones, to feel them at your core. And perhaps using the next 3 cycles of breath as a way to gradually bring your quiet practice to a close. And offering up any gestures that would feel good to kind of help seal your practice. Maybe it's just giving yourself a little hug. Maybe it's just prayer pose with the hands at the heart and a little bow. What would be a good gesture for you to help dedicate your practice and bring it to a close? And then we'll invite our bodies to begin to shift and move a little bit. So maybe Sufi circles, maybe a little bit of rocking side to side. What would you need in this moment? Just let yourself kind of stretch and move. And when you feel your little movements have kind of created a little more space, maybe dispersed some sticky spots in your body, we'll come over to tabletop and straddle your bolster. So hands and knees to either side. And we're going to start with just a little bit of cow cat. And if you happen to have a blanket or cushion within reach as well, you could have that ready to go. Now let's just start with some cow cat here. And maybe those movements are teeny tiny. Maybe you feel like lingering into some of the spaces or doing more of a barrel roll than a spinal flexion. So you move kind of side to side and around rather than up and down in that little slinky-like format. When you feel this little bit of free movement in hands and knees has done enough for you, we're going to lower ourselves down onto our supports for a supported child's pose. You might want to lift the head of your bolster, bring it a little bit closer to you so you're not quite as level to the ground. Other people prefer to be closer to the ground. I'm doing the elevated version tonight. And you'll just settle in, finding a sweet spot to really hold yourself here, or allow yourself to be held would be a better frame of words. And then the head turns over to one side, and you'll stay facing that way for the first half of the pose. And when we're in that midway point, I'll just let you know that it's time to turn your head the other way. And how could you make this your own? Maybe you want to squish in nice and tight towards the bolster, give it a big hug. Maybe it feels better to just fan out. Find your happy spot in this supported child's pose, and then let everything else just dissolve. All you need to do is just breathe. Adjust as you need to, only if necessary. Just allowing your breath to flow naturally. If you're feeling a little bit agitated, try focusing on the exhales for a few moments and just see how that works out for you. Taking your time and slowly just reorienting your head to face the other way, and then settle back in. Dedicating 3 or 4 more breaths to your supported child's pose. And when you're ready to move, hands come underneath you for support. And you're just taking your time as you slowly come away from the bolster. And just seeing what it is that your body might enjoy right now as a little space in between. It could be that you go straight down to the ground. Maybe you feel like stretching up into a downward facing dog or some other flow or movement or posture. Just being for a few moments. And we'll come to take the bolster off its perch if you happen to have lifted the head of it. Turn it sideways. We're going to do a little bit of melting heart, which gets into the shoulders and the arms, peels back some of the layers we like to pack on. So I like to start with my hands on top of the support and just figure out where it is I want to be with my backside. So do I want my bum really low tonight? Do I want it a little bit higher? Kind of set up for the lower part of the body feels good. And then either pushing the bolster away a little bit, keeping the palms of the hands flat on the top, you start to drop the chest and the head between the arms. And sometimes that feels too extreme, so we could bring forearms to the bolster, be a little bit more elevated and supported. And as we're here, if sensations become a little too much with the arms lifted, you could always slide the cushion away, just let the hands barely graze the bolster as you curl into the floor. Almost like a child's pose, but the hips are just a tiny bit higher. So finding your fit, settling into breath, and just see where these moments of Anahatasana carry you tonight. Over the next breath or two, we'll come away from that melting heart pose. Just slide the bolster off to the side or towards the top of your mat. And we'll take a little twist here. So anchoring into the left arm, slide the right one underneath it and just allow yourself to twist in. It might be you wrap that left arm into the low back. Maybe you keep it anchored to the ground. At least a good 2 or 3 deep breaths in this child's pose like twist. And to release, left palm pushes to the earth. Boost yourself up, and we're going to go into the twist through to the right immediately. Same thing. Settle in. At least a good 2 or 3 deep breaths, maybe a few more, and then you'll come. And we'll start to make our way over onto our backs on the mat, and we're going to bring that bolster with us. And again, you could raise the head of the bolster with folded up blanket if you wanted to, or a thick cushion. So you're making a nice little incline plane for yourself to lay back on. You could do this with the legs stretched out. You could do it with the knees bent and the feet to the ground. And a little tiny gap between your back and your bolster. So we're not creating an extreme back bend sensation. And then you'll just gradually lower yourself down. Find that sweet spot, as I like to call it, where your body kind of goes from to oh, and then you settle. You could rock your head side to side a few times just to help free up neck and shoulders. Play with moving your arms around, maybe even kind of rotating through the sockets for a few moments and sourcing that ultra comfortable position for your arms off to the side of your body, maybe stretched out fairly wide. Same thing with the legs. Just continue with little micro adjustments until you hit that big nod of yes in your body, and then you just stop. Come back to breath. Rest and stillness. This precious, beautiful heart. Just allowing yourself to be open for some of those layers of armor to crack and peel away. Allow the forehead to relax. Feel the eyes grow a little bit heavier in their sockets. Your mouth relaxes. You might even be able to perceive the way that gravity gently pulls through the skin on your face, and you kind of feel it just hanging there. Little by little, moment by moment, your body settles more and more. Just giving yourself over to your support, over to earth. Just breathe and allow. Depending on how you're feeling in these precious moments. You might choose to stay as you are, maybe adjust subtly. You could explore reaching your arms overhead and just letting them rest above you, or maybe even dangle in free space if you want some extra release through the chest and the shoulders. Perhaps a few deeper breaths if you've made some grand adjustment. And then ever so slowly, we'll come to release, bringing the hands closer to the body, maybe even underneath you slightly. Tuck the chin in towards the chest and just push up and away enough that you can remove the support from under your back. And maybe you slide it down underneath your knees. You might choose to keep the cushion or blanket and tuck it underneath your head, or maybe you come to cover up now. Just feeling into that curious bit of fallout after being supported for so long. And you then allow yourself to drift. Breath by breath, just being with the sensations as they wash over you, as they move through you. Just this. Illustrious beings. It was in my weakest moments that I discovered inner strength. It was after my sincere and heartfelt confessions I heard untold wisdom. It was when I professed my limitations I recognized the infinite depth within. Throughout life and by love's unseen hands, I am formed and informed and reformed with each new understanding. We are illustrious beings, shaped by what we have survived, healed by our own hearts, crafted with care, always in the making. Little by little, you begin to invite your breath to stretch itself a little wider, a little deeper. Feel it moving through you to the tips of your toes, the crown of your head, the ends of your fingers, and beyond. And with these deepening breaths, you then begin to move your body in ways that feel supportive. In ways that allow you to still somehow linger with the practice and yet also bring it to a close. And maybe that means finding your way to sitting. Maybe that just means opening your eyes into your space and just reminding yourself of where you are. And maybe the hands come to rest on the body or join at the heart. Just take a moment to honor yourself for the courage and the willingness to come to the mat to practice tonight. As we offer deep thanks to all the puzzle pieces of life that fell into place to allow us to connect and share. And thank you for your practice. Namaste.